So the kids are sleeping, and I've been wanting to do a labor, pregnancy, delivery vlog. So I figured I'd come on and talk about that now. So I wanted to start with Paige, as she's the most recent person to come out of my body. Paige was, she went full, okay, first let me start from the beginning. It took me 5 months to conceive Paige. It was, we tried to have her. I wanted a second child, and I wanted them close enough together. So it took about 5 months. I took a pregnancy test. I bought one Dufo's from Amazon where you get like 50 and they're like $10. And the only reason I trusted them because they were accurate with Chase. So I bought another set for Paige, and as you can imagine, every time every month essentially, I took a test hoping I was pregnant. Then that 5th month came along, and I took a wonderful, and it said I was pregnant. I was so excited, but I said, let me double check this. So I took a first response, I don't know, a real pregnancy test, and that confirmed that I was pregnant. So I'm doing a little dance in my house. Chase was already sleeping. Ryan was at jiu-jitsu. So what I did was I took a picture of it, the pregnancy test that said positive, and I printed it out, and well, I wrote, "You're going to be a daddy again, congratulations," and I taped that to our garage door, so that would be the first thing he saw when he came in. So I went upstairs because I knew I couldn't, if I was downstairs I wouldn't be able to, like, I don't know, I just went upstairs. So he saw it, that came in, he read it, he's like, did a little dance, he was happy about it. That was how we found out I was pregnant. And that same letter, I took that to my mom probably the next day to tell her she's going to be a grandma again. And of course she was excited, dancing and everything. So my pregnancy lasted about the full term. So I was 10 months to be exact. I had to mention that we did a gender reveal to find out whether, obviously, Paige was a boy or a girl. We got a cake and cut the cake open to figure it out. I gave my friend knows a baker, and I gave her the envelope, so she knew before me, and she passed that envelope on to the baker, and the baker knew before me as well. Made a pink cake. When I covered it with icing, I'd see if I have a video, I'll throw it in here. And when I cut it open, found that it was pink, and everybody went berserk. Yes. Wait. Okay. There we go. 1, 2. Hurry. She's gonna get out of here, it's gonna be easy, second child. No, she waited exactly 40 weeks. So the day I was due is the day I actually started feeling real contractions, like no joke contractions. Like Chase's contractions were bad. Paige's contractions, whoa. Like I felt like I was gonna die. There was no, oh, I can handle this, give me some drugs. As soon as I hit the hospital, I asked them for an epidural, and of course I had to wait because I wasn't dilated as much as I needed to be. So I started at home probably around, I want to say it was like 10. I knew she was coming, the day she was due. I felt it around 10 p.m., but it was still, I knew just based on prior history of Chase, it was too early to go to the hospital. But it wasn't, they weren't close enough, they weren't strong enough. So I thugged it out. I went to bed, I tried to go to bed because I knew I was going to need to sleep. So I went into bed, I laid there, it progressively got worse. Drank some water, progressively got worse. Around 2 a.m. in the morning, I called my mom and said, okay, you need to come over. I have to go to the hospital. Somebody has to stay with Chase because he was sleeping. So me and Ryan got up. My mom was here in a jiffy. Luckily, she only lives 10 minutes away. So she was here in a jiffy. Yes, as she was pulling in, we were driving out because at that point, my contractions were probably 2 minutes apart. And I was nervous. I was like, I can't have this baby in the car. Granted, the hospital is only around 7 minutes away, but who's going to do that? Ryan's not doing this. He's going to pass out. So I'm in the car struggling. We make it to the hospital. They put me in the triage room, this was a whole nother experience than my first child because I was at a different hospital. So they put me in a triage room where I got my IVs. They do all that checking stuff. And I just remember in so much pain, just shaking the bed, kicking the bed with my contractions. My IV came out because I was, she probably didn't put it in right because it's not supposed to come out. So she eventually put it into my hands. And Ryan told me all he saw was blood spurting. I was like, listen, I don't care. Just get this child out of me. So my labor with her was bad, but it was shorter. Chase was 18 hours, whereas Paige was 7. Once I got through the triage, they put me in the actual labor and delivery room, and they finally gave me my epidural. I forgot that word for a second. I got my epidural, and at that point, I felt a little bit of pressure, but no more pain. The pain was gone. Thank God for drugs. Well, legal drugs. So I got my epidural, and I was okay. Another probably around 6 hours for me to actually fully dilate. But it was okay. At that point, I felt pressure, and I told the nurse, like, I'm feeling a little pressure down there. So they went and checked, and they were like, oh, well, you feel pressure because her head is right there. I was like, oh. So I would say within a push and a half, Paige, my almost 9-pound baby, 9 pounds, came out of me. She came out very light. I'm light. She was probably lighter than this wall. She was bright. A bright baby. So was I when I was born. So she was very bright, very pink. But nothing was unusual about my labor. Nothing was unusual about my delivery. She was fast, thank God. And we stayed in the hospital for 3 days. And I just remember them coming to check her all the time and nicking her poor little. They kept sticking her foot. I'm not sure what that's for, but they kept sticking her foot to do some type of test. And unfortunately, I don't know if it was unfortunately, at this hospital, you're required to keep the baby in the room with you. Chase, at his hospital, you could have put him in the nursery. I didn't because that was my first child. But this one, I actually wanted to put them in the nursery so I can rest. But you're not allowed at this hospital. So he kept her with me, which was fine. She slept. She wasn't awake all day. Chase was awake all night when he was born. She slept. I woke up a couple times, obviously, to change my dressings and to feed her. I tried breastfeeding. It was more successful this time than it was with Chase. However, he's a greedy baby, and it wasn't enough. Same situation with Chase, but with Chase, I just wasn't getting enough. With her, I just feel like I was getting enough, but she was just extra hungry. She was born almost 9 pounds, so she needed the extra nourishment. So breastfeeding wasn't as successful. I tried it for 2 weeks, though. And then at that point, I said, I can't keep up with her. I'm just not making enough. So I went right on to my Infamil. Same thing I did with Chase. I tried it. It wasn't successful. I was real disappointed with Chase. This time I knew better. I was like, well, she's got to eat. So I breastfed for 2 weeks and put her right on that Infamil, and she's a healthy, fat, if you've seen her recently, baby. She's probably around 20 pounds now. But yeah, that was my pregnancy, labor, delivery story for Paige. But I'll be back with Chase. His is a little bit more exciting. I'll be back with that one at a later date.